I uploaded a video last month mentioning how I was planning to get my face tattoos removed. And I've been doing some research on it. I was thinking about doing it this summer, but from what I see, it doesn't look like it's going to turn out well. If you see like this picture, for example, somebody with my skin tone or complexion, tattoo removal takes a lot of time and there's a lot of other effects. I'm not about to walk around with my face being puffy for like 12 appointments of some tattoo removal just to end up in a situation where it won't actually be completely removed. And I spoke to some of my friends about it. They think I should just keep the tattoos because I've had them for like 8 years and I've been completely fine. And that's the truth. Nothing bad has happened to me in nearly a decade with my face tattoos. I don't even really recognize they're there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people have looked at me, but I've never lost my ability to like make friends or date people or get work. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that's there. It's part of my appearance. So like, is there a point in just removing it? You know what I'm saying? So while I was looking at these body modification websites for removals, they got BBL removal now. Man, y'all reversing your BBLs? I told y'all before, here in New York, there are people in Queens and Brooklyn. You can get buttocks injections, like legit shots to add more volume to your buttocks for like $500. And if you don't believe me, if you do your research, there are countless stories of inexperienced providers charging less than $500 for those cosmetic injections to your buttocks. And it's not uncommon for it to go wrong. They might inject that gel filler or whatever into your blood vessels by accident because, inexperience. And then all of a sudden you have a stroke or some infection or you die. The first time I heard about this was years ago at my first job, and some dude who I worked with lived in Brooklyn. He was telling me how, man, he had like this Jamaican accent. I was about to do it, but I can't do no Jamaican accent. He was saying like a lot of these women out here are like super thick now, and they getting these shots to do that. And I'm like, huh? We talking about they getting shots to be thick? That doesn't even sound realistic. What do you talk about? And then he explained exactly what I just explained. So when it comes to body modifications, tattoos, piercings, plastic surgery, I don't have an issue with what someone chooses to do. Maybe this is just my mindset in general, but my perspective is if someone makes a decision about their own body, whether it's a modification or how they present themselves, that's entirely their choice. It's not my body and it's not my life, so it doesn't concern me. Sure, you can have an opinion, but to make it such a big deal that it feels like it's somehow harming your life, that's extreme to me. Now, just because I feel this way doesn't mean I don't have preferences. For example, a lot of men don't like tattoos on women. Personally, man or woman, tattoos don't bother me unless they lack meaning. If you've seen my tattoos on my Instagram and watched my videos often, you know how much I'm into like sacred geometry, mysticism, and esoteric symbols. My face tattoos, for instance, is an alternate crescent moon design. Why? Because I've always been drawn to symbolism of the moon. It represents something deeply personal to me, tied to my interest in mysticism and theology. If you see my left hand, you'll find a tattoo of the Metatron's cube. I could easily spend 30 minutes explaining its significance. But to summarize, the symbol ties into the ideas of Pythagoras, Plato, and their disciplines. It represents the interconnectedness of the universe and the belief that what you put out there in the world returns to you. It's tied to the fruit of life and the patterns of creation. Pythagoras and Plato believed in taking a mystical approach to the soul and the material world, and Metatron's cube embodies that philosophy. And I could go on for about this for hours. It's going to be like a 45-minute video. But my point is, my tattoos have meaning to me. Everyone's choices are their own, and I respect that. But if I see someone with a tattoo that has no meaning, like you just got it, right? You got this tattoo because it's cute. It has no other meaning besides, I just wanted something cute. I'm not gonna like freak out or like verbally critique you or something, or just like, or give you like a stank face, you know what I'm saying? But I have to admit, I wouldn't find that appealing. On a woman, I'd find that less attractive. And on a man, it just wouldn't appeal to me at all. Tattoos have historically been tied to older cultures where they represented something deeply significant, right? Tattoos being about philosophy, or markings being about ideology, spirituality, and divine concepts, right? To me, tattoos without that kind of depth lose a lot of its appeal. That said, it doesn't mean I'll treat you any differently. You're still a person to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't base someone's worth on their tattoos. However, to circle back to the topic about how a lot of men don't like tattoos on women in general. Again, I don't mind tattoos on women in general. But if I see a tattoo that lacks meaning or depth, I got to be honest. That's a turnoff to me. And with the BBLs, you decide to get the Mewtwo body or get buttocks injections or any other body modification related to increasing your appeal or attractiveness. It's your money, your decision. But for me, I think it's important to ask why someone feels the need to make that change. I just explained what tattoos have historically and traditionally been used for, their origin per se, right? What they represent. So with the BBL, this isn't the same. So with that being said, is this something you're doing for yourself, or is it because of external pressures like society's beauty standards or trends on social media? If it's genuinely for you, then that's cool, because I do get it. I've heard people only got BBLs because they don't have time to go to the gym because they're a full-blown mama and they got a full-time job, and it's hard to balance themselves with their own balance life with their own self-image because they don't have any time for themselves. I get where you're coming from, but like, in the case where it's coming from a place of insecurity or feeling like you need to look a certain way to be accepted, I think that's worth reflecting on. I just mentioned social media trends. And honestly, they play such a huge role in the acceptance of women getting BBLs. It feels like everywhere you go online, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or even YouTube now, there's this overwhelming emphasis on a specific body type. And because of that, has become overexposed to the point where it's desensitizing. The BBL body or the Mewtwo body, it feels like, maybe y'all feel this way too, but it feels like it expired. You've become sort of desensitized to it. What once might have stood out as a unique or striking appearance now feels, for lack of a better word, routine. It's like we're seeing the same aesthetic copy and pasted everywhere, which, in my opinion, takes away from individuality. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for people expressing themselves and doing what makes them happy. But when a trend becomes too dominant, it can start to lose, or it can start to feel less about personal choice and more about conformity. It makes me wonder, how much of this is genuinely about self-expression, and how much is driven by the need to fit a mold dictated by social media? On top of that, I think the trend itself can shift what people view as normal or ideal in a way that it feels almost artificial. Natural body types and all their diversity, not to sound cheesy, I think they're fine to me. If not, it's more beautiful because they reflect individuality rather than a copy-pasted look or body type. But now, with the popularity of BBLs, there's this pressure to look a certain way to feel validated or seen. So yeah, BBLs have become so common that they don't have the same appeal that they might have had when they were less widespread. And honestly, it feels like it's something done to keep up with the trend rather than personal expression. It's making it harder for me to personally connect with it or appreciate it. It still has its moments of attractiveness, sure, but it's not the same for me anymore. When I see a BBL body or a Mewtwo body, my reaction isn't, wow, that's hot. Instead, it's more like, yeah, that looks good, but I've seen it so many times and I know it's artificial. It's still hot. It's just not like wow anymore. You know what I'm saying? The oversaturation and the fact that it's manufactured makes me feel differently about things. And honestly, that's a bit sad to think about. These surgeries and body modifications are so accessible now. And while accessibility itself isn't a bad thing, the popularity of chasing one specific look feels dreadful. Plastic surgery has always been around, but to hyper focus on one trend, like BBLs, feels depressing. It's like these beauty standards are It's like, I don't even think they're evolving naturally. They're being shaped and pushed by social media and ultimately profit-driven industries. Procedures like BBLs often prey on people's insecurities, capitalizing on the idea that they need to look a certain way to feel validated, desired, or successful. And that's what makes this so upsetting. It's not about people wanting to enhance their appearance. It's about this pressure that they won't fit a mold. That if you don't fit it, you're somehow lesser than what you are. That pressure that you feel, it isn't empowering, it's exploitive. And it's frustrating to see so many people being manipulated into these trends, often without realizing how much of it is driven by industries profiting off of their self-doubt. I don't mean to give anyone buyer's remorse when it comes to body modifications like tattoos, piercings, BBLs, whatever. Listen, if you got a procedure like a BBL or any other modification and you're happy with it, that's what matters the most. Your body, your choice, and your confidence in your decision are what truly count. I just think it's worth reflecting on the bigger picture of why these trends become so popular and what drives people to make these changes. It's not about shaming individuals. It's about questioning the systems and the industries that profit off of creating these unattainable beauty standards. Well, it's not really unattainable anymore because it's so popular. You know what I'm saying? My issue isn't with people who get body modifications. It's with the culture that makes people feel like they need these modifications to be seen, valued, or loved. So if you made that decision for yourself and it brings you joy, more power to you. But for anyone who considers it because they feel pressured by social media, societal trends, or insecurities, I just encourage these people to take a step back and really think about what's driving that desire. At the end of the day, confidence, individuality, and self-love can't be bought. They come from within, not from a table that you're laying on with the surgeon right next to you. I see body modifications. I say it is what it is, but I can't pretend I don't lose attraction due to oversaturation. Or sometimes I think, why is this even popular now? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the meaning here? Like, we gotta get injections or surgery to look good now? Like, I mean, what do y'all think? This episode is found on Spotify and YouTube. Times Square.
Nightmare 7 a.m. in the morning though. No surprise. Times Square's you and I under those lights. No disguise. Don't tell me everything you wanted was a lie. All those city lights, it's an endless night. Never expected you to bring me so much life. Close my eyes too long, then it's time to say goodbye. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Caution. Wait a moment, keep my heart locked, the waves filled with emotion.